Hello, lovelies. Welcome to this episode of Lessons from the Universe with Jennifer Hall. I look forward to sharing my channeled message with you today, and if you love it, please remember to like, share, review, and subscribe. Hello, lovelies. Today I want to share something with you called the Buddhist Wheel. It is 8 strategies, tactics, ways to live your life so that you can end what they call dukkha. Now, dukkha loosely translates to suffering, but that makes it sound like it's only when things are awful. What dukkha really is what I call discontent. And if you've known me very long, you've heard me talk about how so many people suffer from what is called, what I call, perpetual discontent. And this comes from desiring too much the things we do not have. Now, a lot of people think of that as a lack of goals. I disagree. We should have a forward vision of where our life and our awakening are headed, but we must also learn, train ourselves to be truly present today so that we are comfortable in our skin, right? Truly, deeply present, aware. And when we have that little thread of discontent come in, we know that it is nothing more than an odor in the room. And so when we look at these 8 ways of experiencing life, it makes a lot of sense that it would aid in our equanimity, our ability to be peaceful, no matter what is happening around us, good, bad, or indifferent. So again, it's 8 pieces of the puzzle. Let's explore them one at a time, because that's the easiest way to do it, right? So the first is, well, there's no specific order, okay? That's why it's a wheel, right? It's all pieces of the pie that make up this eightfold path to awakening, to enlightenment, to joy. Not joy that's crazy and all over the place, but peace of mind, calm. So we'll call it first, right intention. This is often described as freeing your mind of evil, but that makes us think that it has to be awful things, right? Evil metaphysically is just wrong thinking. So we are freeing our mind of these beliefs that we have to take away someone else's success to have our own, that someone else's beauty takes ours away. We have to make sure that our intention is highest good, right? Highest good. Our intention is to make a living for our family. Our intention is to stand up for ourselves. Our intention is to speak our truth. When we have a good intention, the right intention, then there are no consequences that can shake us. I recently had a event, I guess, with someone in my family, someone whose judgmental nature and truly racist behavior crossed a line long ago and only was allowed to because of the connection to family. Finally, words had to be spoken, and she went very extremely dark, aggressive, ugly, attacking. My intention stayed right the whole time. My intention was to clear the air. My intention was to make sure that she understood that this was not acceptable in my home, near my children, in my world. That was my intention. My intention was not to argue with her, and I did not. My intention was not to remove her from my life, though it does appear that that is a consequence of the interaction, which leads to the next piece, which is right speech. Say nothing that hurts others. Do not intentionally hurt other people. Do not say things that are ugly or mean. Do not gossip. We can refer back to this interaction I was bringing up a minute ago. I look back at that moment and I believe I was Thank you, universe. Able to maintain right speech. I did not attack her in any way, even when she attacked me. I did not. I continued to say, let's sit down, let's talk. That was not received, but that is irrelevant. I said nothing that could hurt her unless she chose to be hurt by the truth, which even then was told very matter of fact, right? There's no attacking. Thank you, universe, for the wisdom of right speech, because I have no regrets. The next is right action. And this is working for the good of other people, ourselves and other people. We mustn't forget that we are people, right? It has to be for us too, right? What we are doing in the world should, at the very least, be neutral to others, if not helpful to them. Again, I didn't imagine I was going to use this example the whole time, but it seems quite, at least up to now, quite useful. This was for the good. This was right action, this interaction I had with her. I had to show an example to my children of how and when we stand up for ourselves and our belief system and truly what's right, because there is no argument that the behavior that I was addressing in her was wrong. The right action came in a number of ways throughout the whole conversation. My intention was to hopefully open her eyes, at very least create a situation where we could continue to be together in a family situation without it being unbelievably offensive to me and my children, and so against our fundamental belief system that we would be a hypocrite if we ignored it. At some point, you can't just say, that's just that person anymore. It has to be addressed, right? Right action. So I have, again, zero respect. Not zero respect. Zero regret. I have zero regret. I do think it's important to address the Freudian slip there. Zero respect. I suppose that's true. I have zero respect for the way that she reacted and behaved. I have zero respect for the attack that she turned on me that had nothing to do with the conversation and truly just wasn't true. I can respect and honor her deep need to defend herself. Clearly, she went into fight or flight mode because as she went on the attack, she also burst in and out my door 3 or 4 times before I simply told her, don't open my door again. I can respect the desire to defend oneself. I can respect the path that she is on, and I can hope and pray for her that somewhere through this process, she is able to at least self-reflect and hopefully learn something. If not the actual lesson that I intended, perhaps to handle interaction or confrontation with calmness in the future, with right intention, right speech, right action. The next spoke on the wheel, right? Think of a captain's wheel on a ship. That's how it's normally drawn. Is right livelihood. This is respecting life. This is how we earn a living, right? If you cannot reconcile what you do to create your livelihood with your spirituality, then something needs to change. And I actually do talk to a lot of people who are living this truth. They are this unbelievably spiritual, focused person. And when you get into the slice of life pie that is work, they are then corrupt or selfish or entangled, misleading characteristics that they would never want to claim as a part of who they are. This, my lovelies, goes all the way back to an early episode, right? No hypocrites allowed. I tell my children that above all things, in all decisions with their friends, whatever, the pressure that's around them, all the things, that I need them to be ready to behave as who they are. what is aligned with their belief system and the person that they want to be. Because as the days of life move forward and we reflect on our lifetime, we are not going to regret standing up for our truth. We are not going to regret lovingly turning down the invitation to do something that is not aligned with the person that we are and want to be. We will regret the times that we were assholes, right? Or did something dangerous or hurtful. Doesn't mean don't have adventure. Have adventure. But make sure it's authentic, right? It doesn't mean I don't want you to earn money. Earn money, right? Financial success is often an outworking of spiritual awakening. Of course, there are people who attract money and nothing else, okay? And that's a different conversation. But the bottom line is right livelihood. If the money that you earn, if the energy that you accept from the world is corrupt with bad intentions, then dukkha sinks in, that discontent. And you wonder, is this really all there is? The next is right effort. Recently, the past couple of episodes, I think, we've talked about this some, even with my children, right? It is one thing to participate. It is another thing to try, to really resist the negativity and put forward an effort that is respectful, respectable, right? That is truly your best and moving in the direction of the life you want to live. We are continually at this crossroad in life, whether it's something simple like drink the milkshake, don't drink the milkshake, or it's something bigger like go with all your friends and feel included, or stand alone with the one child who needs you to defend them, or at least befriend them. Sometimes right effort requires a lack of self in that we have to weigh the cost versus the reward. And sometimes the cost can be great. It can be a loss of friendships, can be the loss of job, it can be great. But what's on the other side of that? Loss of self-respect. And so right effort takes many forms. Are you doing the best that you can? And if you're not, are you at least truly, deeply content with what you are doing? Because that's a thing too. The next one is right concentration. Now, a lot of people describe this and say that this is just simply practicing meditation. Maybe, okay? But meditation is truly an intimidating practice to a lot of people, mainly because people think you have to, sit cross-legged in the dark for an hour, right? But that's not really true. Meditation is the ability to connect to your inner self, to truly hear you, not the chattering monkeys, not the bullshit, not everybody else's stuff or what you think you're supposed to think, but truly deeply who you are inside, right? And then to align to that. It is the focusing quite truly on today, right now. If it requires you to sit and meditate in the dark, that's fine. But it is something that you can achieve multiple times a day with a deep breath and the right intention. Right concentration is where are you focusing your thinking most of the day. One of the things I remind my children is cause no harm. That can shift your thinking really quickly. If they're angry with a friend, right? Annoyed with each other, playing too rough even, right? You run this through your head, cause no harm. And it will align you with right effort and right action and right speech and right intention, right? Cause no harm. When there's no intention to hurt another person, some of these other pieces of the wheel fall into place. The next one is right mindfulness. Something we talk about a lot. It's controlling your thoughts, right? I prefer not to call it controlling them. Let's call it training them, because our thinking is a habit. It's not something that happens to us. Other than that, it is a habit like anything else. If you slouch all the time, that's a habit. It's happening to you because you're allowing it to. But the truth is you can change it. And so we must always pause and ask ourselves, what is the other side of this? A great example, something that comes up frequently, is individuals who are in a traditional work environment and they have a micromanager at some level above them. When we take that all personally, it's like he doesn't believe I can do my job. He doesn't trust me. And then it spirals into self-doubt. Maybe I'm doing a bad job. Maybe I'm going to get fired. Da, 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 da. It goes everywhere. It gets all over you. But let's pause. When that micromanager comes in, all a tizzy, with all these questions, all these things that he needs to know. What if, beloved, it has nothing to do with you? What if it's the trickle down? What if somebody's on him? What if he has no control anywhere else in his life and he needs somewhere to know exactly what's going on? Can you take the right effort, the right action, the right intention, and just give this human being the information that he needs to feel comfortable, to remove some harm from that person's mind and life? I believe you can. And when we do that, we relieve that resistance and that yuckiness. We relieve all of the twisting, turning thoughts that get in the way, that make us doubt ourselves, that cause dukkha, perpetual discontent, is a habit. And this leads us to the 8th spoke on the wheel, which is right view. Know the truth. Know the truth, beloved. All is well. All is well. Everything is okay. Everything is perfect. Cause and effect, whether you like it or not. So equanimity, right? If you do not like the effects, change what you are doing, right? It might take a minute because we live in a physical world, but it can certainly help you evolve. Right intention. What are you trying to accomplish? If all you know is that it's peace of mind, that's enough. Right speech. Speak the truth. If you don't know it's true, shut your mouth. Don't speak ugly. And if you're around others who are, if you cannot counteract that ugly speech, at least don't add to it. Right action. Work towards the good of other people. Don't do something that hurts someone else intentionally. Now, let's be clear, that doesn't mean that you shouldn't be a go-getter. Go for the promotion. Sure, somebody else isn't going to get it if you do, and that may cause them harm, but that is not you harming them. That is the universe using that scenario, your success, whatever it is, as curriculum for the other person. That's not intentional harm. Right action. I mean, we could really simplify that as don't be an asshole. Take action when you need to. Shake the boat when you need to. Flip the tables when you need to. But only if that is right action, not if it is to hurt or shame someone else. Right livelihood. do everything you can to make sure that the money that you earn, that the food that you feed yourself and your family, the everything, as much aligned to peacefulness as possible. In a lot of ways, this and right action, I suppose, are what leads a lot of Buddhists to be vegetarian, right? Cause no harm. When we think about how animals are treated, the support of that industry does cause harm. Now, I am not going to stand up for or against vegetarianism, but I will say that the ability to thrive as a vegetarian does depend on your blood type. And if that's something you're thinking about, I want you to check that out. Right effort, right concentration, right mindfulness, all leads to the right view. You probably notice these are all led by the word right, right? I say that a lot too. That doesn't mean there's one answer. It doesn't mean there's one right intention or one right job. It doesn't mean there's one right view even. In fact, in the Buddhist celebration of Bodhi Day, which is the celebration of enlightenment, right? Specifically the enlightenment of the current Buddha, but Buddha is a teacher. They don't think of him as a god. He is a teacher. He's someone who achieved enlightenment and then taught it. In their celebration, one thing you would notice at my home on my Christmas tree, the multicolored lights. Those multicolored lights represent all the different paths to enlightenment, all the different rights that there are. When we use the affirmation you've heard me say before, I attract only the right people and circumstances into my world, and I have faith that it is so. We are recognizing that right is sometimes positive and sometimes seemingly negative. Sometimes it is a kick in the pants. Sometimes it is a lesson to learn, but if it is right, we will experience it, and we should. There are many paths to right. What we want to make sure is that we do no harm, that we do not intentionally hurt someone with our words, our actions, our job, our efforts. We don't hurt ourselves with the way we choose to think and where we choose to focus. Because the truth is, awakening and enlightenment are available to all of us. That is what the Buddha taught. That is what Jesus taught. He said these things and greater you can do. So let's go forward. Let's seek our title of enlightenment and awakening. Let's seek the title of Christ, the title of Buddha, because those are the titles that mean awakened one, enlightened one, the one who is free of dukkha, free of perpetual discontent. Let's seek that, beloved, every day, all the time. And remember that causing no harm is for you, to you as well. When you trip, when you fall, get up and be kind to yourself. Cause no harm. Speak only true words, right words to yourself. Right actions for yourself. Right intention, right focus. Be loving to you as if you were your own child. Because indeed, in so many ways, you really are. Until next time, beloved, namaste.
Hi, my name is Connie, and I wanted to tell you a little bit of my experience and my relationship with Jennifer. When I first met Jennifer, it was a very emotional and intense meeting. That day, when I had walked in the door, I could feel this charge of emotion and care and kindness It was nothing short of amazing. Also, that day, I received something that I never thought I would ever get. It changed my life, literally. Or that day, when I left, I was a changed person. I had a new outlook on life. I was happier. I felt lighter. It was something I will always be grateful for. Since then, our relationship has changed. It's become one of the most incredible. I'm fighting for the words because I don't know if I can find the words that are big enough to express how much it means to me. Excuse me, I'm getting a little verklempt. The things that I've learned about myself, about the world around me, about my spirituality has been priceless. And the level of gratitude I have in regards to that is just immeasurable. I don't know how I would go on if this relationship wasn't in my life. But I know that I've learned so much that I would be able to go on. So I'm grateful for that too. I became a patron of the podcast because it gave me the opportunity to support and nurture something that nurtures my spirituality and me growing as a person and becoming my best self. I'll always be grateful for it. It'll continue to go with me throughout the course of the rest of my life. There's so much love that is put into this, and supporting its growth will benefit this world. Namaste.
Thank you for joining me for this episode of Lessons from the Universe with Jennifer Hall. If you haven't already, I want to personally invite you to come out and find me on social media and at my webpage, psychicjenniferhall.com. If you are inspired by the podcast and want more content, consider clicking that Patreon button on Podbean, or you can support the show at paypal.me/Universal Lessons LLC, or by visiting our swag shop at spreadshirt.com. You can find the direct link on my Facebook page and my webpage. If you have questions, consider attending one of my quarterly seminars here in Dallas, or book your own educational session from anywhere in the world using the link that you can find on Facebook or on my webpage. I am sending each of you love, light, clarity, and wisdom, and I want you to know that whether you realize it or not, there's a little brunette with a podcast that's got your back.